Hello everyone, this is Jorge Diaz, President and Founder of Larry Jacob Internet Marketing and an Infusionsoft Certified Consultant. I'm here with another episode of Defining Infusionsoft Success, and my guest is Ted, and I'm sorry I don't have it in front of me, your last name, Ted?
Moskovitz.
Moskovitz, and I think I've spelled it right once only because I stole it from his signature. But Ted is an AppointmentCore guy. We've had Benji from his team on board. I guess he's your CEO and president.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were talking, and I had spoken to Ted back at PartnerCon, and efficiency in people's calendar is something that I think we all struggle with. And so I wanted to talk to him because he's, not only do they have the tool, but they have a lot of smarts and a lot of research that talks about, okay, how do we become more efficient? How do we not give away our time freely or too freely? 80-20 rules, how do you get that 80% bang from the people that are really going to do business? And so it made a lot of sense to have Ted join us. So Ted, introduce yourself, tell people a little bit about yourself and how you fit into AppointmentCore.
Sure. So I am the co-founder and executive vice president of AppointmentCore. I've been with the company for, I guess, about 2.5 years now. Ever since we won Battle of the Apps at InfusionCon in 2013. I'm a former securities lawyer and sort of political junkie, I guess, who then turned over to the small business software space.
Political junkie this day and age is interesting.
Yeah, being here in Washington, D.C. is something that I think, I'll say, infects everyone a little bit. But fortunately, got out of that game and am now able to focus on, tools for small business and helping small business owners succeed. And that's really what the focus of AppointmentCore is. We love working with small business and giving them the types of tools that will enable them to be more successful.
Right. Well, I'm an AppointmentCore user, and I'm a big fan.
Awesome.
And I tell you, what I did years back, I used to have a form on my site that says, hey, do you want to discuss your project needs? And that would get me an email. And so then we did the ping pong back and forth. Are you available here? Are you available there? And I'm telling you, cutting over to AppointmentCore for me was a little nerve-wracking because, this meant money for me. It wasn't like, hey, a theoretical appointment. This was someone I'd get on the phone and I'd work sales calls with. So I'm telling you, it's amazing now, 3 years later, that I look at, I got another appointment on my calendar. Yes, but I didn't have to work at it. And, what people do is they get a link to my calendar. I've got specific parts of my calendar available to them. And now we're talking, it's a sales call, and that's, if you did a search, we need, membership site consultant, Infusionsoft consultant, whatever, they find me. So these are live calls for me. And so what we were talking about as we were prepping is that you guys have really done a lot of study to take it from my, I want to say simple scenario to, what are other things that you can do?
Yeah, so, we've booked, I guess, over 1 million appointments now, just in the last 18 months or so. Specifically for Infusionsoft users. So, it's a scenario that we're really familiar with, and I think you really hit the nail on the head there. And you're right, there's a lot of things that we've learned that sort of go beyond the basics. And, one of the things that relates to what you're saying is the way that people are having leads convert into actual scheduled appointments. So, a lot of people have a scenario like this. Come to my website, fill out my web form, give me your email, give me your phone number, and then we'll call you when we're ready, right? That's something that I think a lot of people can relate to. But what you're not doing there is you're not really capturing that lead, when they're hot, when they're really interested and they're on your site. When someone fills out that web form, it's not as though you actually have an appointment booked with them. One, you have to try and call them back or reach out to them at a time when you don't know if they're free or not. And they're going to continue looking. They look at competitors' websites. They continue searching for other tools, So what we like to do with AppointmentCore is lock that person in right then. Give them the availability or give them the option to schedule a meeting with you right then and there. That way they feel like, okay, I know I have a time where I'm going to be able to, talk through my needs. I have a set meeting with this person, and we're taking advantage of the psychological principle known as the ownership effect, which is that people really feel an attachment to things that are theirs, even if they just received them. So even though they've just booked this appointment, they feel like, okay, I'm safe, I'm secure, I have this meeting coming up where they know they're going to be heard, so they're not continuing to shop around, and they're going to just go ahead and wait until your call for them to talk through, what it is that they need.
So, I'm thinking I send them an email with my link. What I could do is just land them right on a thank you page that says, hey, here's my calendar, pick a spot, right?
Exactly. And that's something that's going to be higher converting. You're removing the steps, right, to your end goal, which is getting on the phone and speaking with this person. And, we know a core conversion principle is decrease steps, improves your conversion. So if right then, when they're on the site, when they're interested, you're going to go ahead and have them book the appointment, it's going to be more effective. And, that segues well into one of the other things that we talk about, which is segmenting your leads properly and using 80-20 principles, to govern your schedule. So, I think the easiest way to say this is not all leads are created equal, right?
Absolutely.
If you have a lead from a 200-person agency, that's probably not the same for you in terms of the value to your business as some like small mom and pop shop, right? So I don't mean that we should treat these people differently, right? Like once we get on the phone with them, of course, we give the same high level of service to everyone. But from the front end, in terms of providing access to your calendar, you probably shouldn't give the same amount of time and availability. So what you can do is have a web form on your site, an Infusionsoft web form that says how many people, are in your company, what's your budget for this project, where are you looking to improve, and based on what they say to you, you can then send them to different booking links that have different hours of availability, and that tag them differently in your Infusionsoft, that send them different campaigns, that send them different case studies. So we're really thinking through, how do we want to run our time? Which types of businesses do we want to give more time to, less time to? How are we going to segment them within Infusionsoft, which is going to lead to more efficiency overall?
Yeah, I get it. So I have a form, and today that form lands them somewhere. But if I ask them some questions so that I know a little bit more about them, then I can say, hey, the next step in the process is, I'll call you whenever. Or, hey, here's my calendar, and you give them the prime spots.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And, something else that that you mentioned before we hopped on was that you actually just had a lead from someone who was overseas come in.
Yeah, the time changes.
With that. Yeah, and, it's funny, whenever I try and do those time conversions myself, I feel like I need an advanced math degree just to make it happen. And
let me tell you.
I always mess it up. It's a problem that so many people have. And so I think, just that feature, the fact that they see your availability in their time zone and you see it in yours, is a huge thing. We're doing the conversion for you so that it's not going to get messed up, so that everyone, gets their reminders and the proper time zones and everything that's unique to them. And not only that, but you're not available at 1 a.m. to speak to this person. If they try and call you, then they can't get you on the phone,
Sure.
And a lot of small business owners have this issue of what's the balance between work time and home time or family time? And so by embedding an automated scheduling solution on your website, you're essentially keeping your business open 24/7.
Right.
You can have people book meetings with you whenever it is that's convenient for them. And also, you're busy during the day, like during the 9 to 5, you're on with clients. If you're a small business owner, maybe you're a massage therapist, you're an attorney, you're actually in the room with people. You can't be like, oh, hold on a second, let me
take this call.
Schedule an appointment. Yeah, let me take this. If my massage therapist started doing that, I don't think I'd be a client of theirs very long. So what we're basically doing is we're allowing people to book when it's convenient for them, regardless of whether or not that's actually convenient for us.
Yeah, that's interesting because I want to say my calendar caters overtly to people in the United States and Canada. So I'm looking at our three time zones. But more and more I'm getting people in the UK, and like I mentioned this morning, I had someone in the Philippines. So and by the way, you can kind of see how interested they might be because they scheduled a call at 11 o'clock p.m. their time.
Huh.
Which, that alone communicated something. And that's, so I got with them and we got on Skype and I tried to make life a little bit less crazy. But I have to start thinking, okay, how do I gear my calendar? And it could be that by asking questions, I can come up, hey, are you in, Europe, United States, or Asia? I can kind of get some general things and then maybe send them booking links that's going to be more likely. Or maybe I do coordinate those overseas folks using email and Skype as opposed to coming up and trying to keep my calendar available 24 hours.
Exactly, and that's something that I do. I set aside time 2 evenings a week to speak with our clients who are in Australia. We have a lot of them, and so, I'll carve out time a couple times a week because I don't want to be working every night of the week, right? But we want to make sure that we're able to provide service and support and talk with those people.
Sure.
So if someone sends in a request and, our support desk sees, oh, hey, this person has, .nz or .au, penned at the end of their email address, they send them 10 booking links specific for people that are in that part of the world, and then it comes up with them and has times that are convenient for them. And the fact that, they get in there and they say, AppointmentCore is giving me times that actually work for me. Like usually when I'm talking to businesses in the U.S., it's like these really crazy times. I think they really appreciate it. And it makes them think that, we really do care about them.
Well, and it also kind of raises your impression up a notch. If they're calling you and, in your case, there aren't as many competitors in your space, but, if someone's looking for a membership website, they will come up, they'll look at like the Memberium website and they'll go, let me call this set of implementation partners. Yeah. If just that sort of approach can really give us so much better impression to the folks as they're beginning, and all they have is that initial impression to begin with. So it can make a serious difference.
Yeah. So, and also, just allowing them to self-schedule is great. Like when someone fills out a web form, I think there's this impression that it's going into a black hole and there's no expectation set as to when, you're going to hear back from the person. So, if someone in Australia books an appointment with me, even if they have to wait a day or two for it to be a time that's convenient for them, because I'm only doing, office hours for them generally twice a week, at least they think like, okay, I have a time. I know when I'm going to speak to this person. I know when I'm going to hear back from them. And just, I think mentally, it sort of lets you like take a step back and breathe and be like, okay, this problem is going to be solved for me, because oftentimes people come to us when they're acutely feeling the pain of something, right? Maybe not like so far in advance, like they need it right then. So just allowing them to come in, self-schedule, know that they have a time locked down, I think is really helpful.
Nice. So you share with us some of this other little magic that you were telling me about earlier. What are the other things that they can think about?
So I think, a couple of the ones that we touched on a little bit, but segmentation is really one of the big ones. Not just in terms of segmenting people based on like their size, but industry is another big one. Asking people like which industry do you work in, and then asking them to schedule an appointment, sending them a case study or a use case that's specific to their industry. So they come in, they say, I'm in the real estate niche. They book their appointment. Now within Infusionsoft, that this person's in real estate, and so you're going to trigger off, a case study to them that you did.
Right.
Before you get on the phone with them, they already think, wow, this person is a subject matter expert, in what I do. There's a resource that's specifically, for them, which is helpful as well. And another thing, in terms of thinking through your own time is, how is it that you like to organize your day, and how do you work most effectively, right? I like to do my writing in the morning first thing. So maybe I won't take, client calls then or prospect calls. Right after lunch, if I'm a little full, maybe that's a time where I want to have, my internal team members booking times with me where I don't have to be quite as sharp as I would be otherwise. Right. And so I really think through my booking links and think through, how do I want to organize my day? How do I want to organize my time? And let's give people the ability to put themselves in at the times when I want them to. So now, my mental energy stays high throughout the day, and I just have a lot more control over my schedule than I would otherwise, instead of, having to go in and look at my day and be like, okay, I have this thing here, I have this thing here. When am I going to want to have this person? I'm spending a lot of mental energy just booking these meetings in. So instead, I'm letting people book themselves in at their convenience, but it's really based on times that I know in advance are good for me to do that particular type of activity.
Yeah, and I'm with you because, my mornings are kind of like sacred to me because I can get so much done without interruptions, usually before the sun comes up. Yeah. And I hesitate to do anything, with anybody else, even if the time zones work out. But, starting 7, 8 o'clock, then it goes. But I purposely don't schedule myself before 11, which then works well for Pacific Coast. So now that we've got Asia and Europe, I've got to figure out how I totally deal with that correctly. But it's interesting because the booking links do allow you to be flexible. And, for example, I only allow 2 slots a day. I love that feature you have that says, make me look kind of busy.
We call it like the empty restaurant feature. If you walk into a restaurant, there's nobody there. You think like, maybe this isn't where I want to eat. Similarly, if you're an ICP or you're, whatever small business owner, if someone looks at your availability and it's like, all day long, nothing but open spots, you're like, maybe this person, isn't that good at what they're doing, so I'm going to look somewhere else. So, we give you the ability to sort of create this, impression that you're a little bit busier than you are while still providing, a lot of options to the person. And, adds a little bit of exclusivity.
That makes a big difference. And now you guys also have features that are now in the new version that enable you to even take payments related to AppointmentCore, where maybe you're selling consulting, time, which I know used to not be part of the, I guess, the regular offer. I mean, I know you have the 5.0 now.
Yeah, so you have a few different options for how you're going to take payments, just because we like to be flexible and, let people, use what they're used to. So there's an integration through Stripe, which people can use and take payments directly in a number of different currencies, which is really convenient for our customers who might be abroad. Additionally, you can integrate it with an Infusionsoft order form. So you can have someone go in, fill out your order form and then book their appointment, or you can have someone book an appointment. And then depending on, what type of appointment it was, you can send them to an Infusionsoft order form, to keep things pretty seamless and flowing into your Infusionsoft the way that you would have it normally.
Okay, so because I know that I had worked with you guys and you guys had done some custom work to make something like that happen for a client. But so I can go in, reserve a time on the calendar, go pay for the order form through an order form. And then if I get a decline, it releases the appointment, right?
Yeah, so, that's the beauty of the depth of our integration with Infusionsoft is because you can do API calls and apply tags and all these things, it allows you to do some cool sequences. So, in the example that you just mentioned, the sequence would be something like this. Person, decides they want to buy, some type of service for you, a consulting call or something like that. They go into AppointmentCore or they go to, embedded on your website, the AppointmentCore scheduling link. They choose the time they want and then, okay, it's time to pay, right? So let's say the card gets declined or they get cold feet and maybe they back out and they don't want to pay for it. We can use tags at every step of this process to basically tell you, like, where is this person, right? So within Infusionsoft, you have a tag that says this person booked their appointment. Then you don't have the tag that says they paid for it. So maybe that tells you, hey, fire off an email to this person. It's like, hey, you booked your appointment, but you haven't paid yet. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, almost like like an abandoned cart sort of sequence.
Exactly. And so you might send them an email or two or, call them to say, hey, what's going on? But ultimately, if they end up not paying for it, you can create a task that just says, hey, go in and, delete this appointment and send them an email saying, hey, come back and try again another time when you're ready to, pull up your wallet.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have really thought through a lot of things. I mean, I'm not just kind of trying to plug you guys. But we've had customers that have asked us for some interesting combinations of these that kind of go with their coordinating coaches on a membership site. There are different scenarios where it makes sense. And it's interesting because you guys cover a lot of those, including, I want to say multiple people, offering calendar time off of multiple people's calendars.
Yep. So, there's a whole lot of advanced, what we call distribution features and rotations and things. Let's say I had a technical sales call link. I could require that one of the tech team members, also is available at the same time as me. When someone tries to book a meeting with me for it, I can have a rotation among 5, 10, 200 people on a team. If I have 200 salespeople, I can automatically distribute to them based on rules that are set in advance, in particular orders or in Robins and things like that. And, like you're saying, we do a lot with Infusionsoft in these sort of weird, quirky scenarios because we're an Infusionsoft company, the product is built from the ground up for Infusionsoft. It's all that we do. Our clients are Infusionsoft clients. We work with tons of ICPs. And so they come to us all the time and they say, hey, I have this use case and I need something for it. And if we don't do it already, if a couple of people ask for it, we're going to build it for them, right?
Sure.
We have ICPs on our team or people who are certified, who can get into your Infusionsoft and help you out, with small things here and there. So I think, the fact that we're specifically tailored to this market, one means we can customize things for people, but two, we've seen a lot of these use cases before. We know the types of things that are common. And also, we kind of get a preview of what's coming down the pipeline from Infusionsoft, and they tell us hey, we're going to have this feature coming out, be ready for when we do. That way our team of developers can kind of get in there and prepare well to build these things out for them in advance.
Great. Well, hey, Ted, thank you so much for this time. We're kind of coming up on the end of the period. If people want to reach you, how would they do that?
You can go to AppointmentCore.com, which is our site where you can sign up for a free trial. I'll also provide you with my booking link that maybe you can include along with the video as well.
Okay.
And you can use my booking link and put yourself directly on my calendar at a time that's convenient for both of us.
Well, and that way you can kind of play around with it and see how it works. So good.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the time, and we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.